Hey everyone, Bill here again with another video, and today I have some exciting news, I think. I have a tripod. I've had a tripod. I didn't have a tripod for the last video, but I have a tripod now, so I can kind of stand here and stand in the back and move around a little. Not that I really need to when recording a video, but it's nice if I want to do time-lapse or something. Probably won't do that now, just because the work that's going to be entailed today, so I'll just kind of give you a little description of what I'm doing and a little post-mortem afterwards. First things first, most important part probably, I'm currently in the process, and I know I say process because I didn't think to start recording until about day 2 of this project, so you're a little behind, so I'll get you caught up. So I recently bought a new roof hatch to replace the emergency exit on my bus, and I figured it would be cool to have like one of those marine clear window hatches that go on the roof. And I ordered it. It's here, sitting right over there on one of the seats. It's taken apart, so probably won't show it to you till it's done, but if I remember, I'll try to link it in the description. It's going to fit. The only issue is I can't get it to fit currently because the hole where the original exit was, it's perfect, length and width, perfect, fit perfectly. But the corners are a bit too rounded, so the roof hatch won't fit in properly, and I need to cut those corners. So what I had to do last night was, since it gets dark at 5 p.m., 4:30, and I hate it so much, I had to stop the project because I was originally using these little sheet metal cutters, but unfortunately, part of the edges are 2-ply, like 2 pieces of sheet metal stacked, and this can only do one at a time. So that option's kind of out the window. So last night, thankfully for Amazon 2-day delivery, or overnight delivery, I ordered a new Dremel. I had a Dremel, but it wasn't high enough voltage. And I ordered a Dremel, and I ordered some metal cutting parts. So I'm going to do that. Never done that before. And I'm going to cut a hole in the roof. Now, I've already removed the hatch, and I'm going to point the camera up. This might be a bit weird. There it is. There's a big old bright hole in the sky. Figured I'd film right under it. Be a little cool. It's not supposed to rain until Friday, but I'd like to get this in as soon as I can so I don't have to worry about stuff like that, because I was walking my dog this morning and it started snowing a tiny bit. Doesn't look like it got anything in here, but you know, I don't want to have a blizzard at some point and the roof hatch isn't sealed. I have the old one here, the old hatch here, and you might be able to see, there you go, this part, which was the frame, completely disintegrated. Pretty much as soon as I took the screws and applied even a tiny amount of force, the whole frame shattered, so I can't even put that back if I wanted to. So here's a little caveat for me. I have a bit of vertigo, so I can't, I think that's the term. I'll be completely honest, I don't know if that's the correct term. I think it's vertigo, vertigo, I don't know, sound the same. So that means I can't do work on the roof. I can't be up there physically. So I'm kind of sticking my head in the roof with a little step stool. And from there, I'm just, doing all the work like 2 inches from my face. So this is a bit precarious, which is why originally I was trying the sheet metal cutters, because I didn't want to risk that. But that wasn't working too well, so now we're cutting it this way. So yeah, let me go do that, or get as far as I can with that, and I'll give you a little update as far as I've gotten, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so good news. Also, if you notice, I'm crouching, like hunched over. The tripod I have doesn't go up to my full height. It'd be kind of awkward from standing like this talking to you. So I'm just leaning in, talking like this. So the hole is the correct size now. The hatch is gonna fit. I cut a bit over, so some of the corners are gonna be exposed when I put this, officially seal it in. This side, and this side, they were the first ones I did yesterday, and I didn't have a Dremel or anything, so I was just taking the metal snips and cutting it that way, and it's very jagged, so I had to go in with the Dremel and very cautiously Dremel those bits of metal out that were very jagged, so it's not pretty underneath, but it doesn't need to be because it's going to be covered up by the hatch. So some of the screws from the original hatch are still stuck in the frame. So what's probably going to happen, to save myself time and a headache of getting them out and all that, I'm probably just going to cut them in half and just leave them there. I don't see any reason to take them out fully. Everything, all the old holes are gonna get covered in silicone. I don't need it to look perfect. It's going on the roof. Me personally, I'm never going up there. I'm not planning on a deck or anything. It's just gonna be probably solar all the way through once I get to that far in the project. But yeah, so it's good now. Now I have to take the hatch back out, clean up everything that's up there. I have to let the Dremel charge because it died on the last step. I can't complain, lasted the whole project. But yeah, take it out, gonna put silicone around the frame and drill out holes for the new screws. My only concern so far that I've noticed now that I have it in is since the roof is bowed, it's not settled in on the sides. The top is fine, but on the sides it's pretty much barely in. My thinking is the screws will be able to anchor it down as that's how the old hatch was. On the old hatch, this is a 25-year-old bus. The old hatch, as soon as I undid those screws, you could feel the metal flexing back up. Once I get it all screwed in, then I won't have to worry about it sticking out. Hopefully it'll kind of shove itself down a little bit. Now something else that I noticed, and I'm hoping this isn't a big issue, when I was hammering this in, there was some like water squirting out from the two pieces of sheet metal that makes up the roof. And I'm concerned that that's going to be a bigger issue. Since that's the roof, the only way to get that fixed would be to cut off the rivets, rip it off, and I'm just not ready to do that yet. If I have to, at some point I will get a third party to do that for me, and I'll just have them, take off the hatch, put it back on when they're done. But for the time being, I'm just going to leave that. So that's going to stay the same, and I'm going to go work on this hatch right now, and I'll get back to you when I've made some progress. Alright, so, good news and bad news. It's kind of a bittersweet ending, this one. So, the good news is, the hatch is in. It opens, closes, protects from the rain for the most part. The bad news is, it doesn't fit perfectly. So, the hatch, and I'll try to include some B-roll shots. I've never done that before, but we'll figure it out. So, the hatch is in. It fits and all that. But the problem is, the hatch itself does not fit perfectly with the frame. So the hatch is not sitting on the frame perfectly because the frame, when I screwed it in, it anchored itself to the shape of the roof, which is curved. And the frame was originally square and the hatch is square. So now that we have a curved frame and still a flat hatch, there's some gaps on the side that let air in. Now, I'm a bit concerned that that's going to let water in, but I'm also not too concerned because I'm pretty sure the brim of the hatch itself goes out far enough where that won't be a problem. But we'll see. I'll have to wait for a big rainstorm. It sounds like Friday is going to be a big one, which is 2 days from now, so we'll find out. But it started raining a few minutes ago as I was finishing up, and it didn't come in. I didn't feel anything. So for a light drizzle, it works good. I originally was using 1-inch sheet metal screws, and they were working fine for the front and back connecting to sheet metal. However, going into the support frames on the sides, I couldn't get the screws to anchor themselves down, and that was causing an issue. So I angrily ran to the hardware store, bought new screws with a different head that actually worked a bit better because it has a cone-shaped head, and that's the shape of the hole, so it fits better than what I originally had, which was just like a button head. It's a 2-inch nail, and that anchored itself down, which is how I was able to get the frame to curve. I have a bit of a plan. I want to test something out, but I saved the frame from the hatch, the interior frame. I saved it. Everything on the outside cracked, and you can see it's covered in, you might not be able to see it, it's covered in mold, it's got like black mold on it, it's disgusting. But my plan is I'm going to clean it up, and then I'm going to try to fit it where there's gaps between the sheet metal and the frame still, where the hatch is. And I'm going to try to trim it down so it can actually fit with the new hatch and see if that'll work. Eventually I'm going to be taking out the sheet metal, and I'm going to be taking out the roof and the walls and everything, redoing them. But for the meantime, I figure we might make it look a bit nicer if I cover up the little gap that's left between the frame and the ceiling of the bus. So everything's caulked up, everything's in place. All the old screw holes were caulked up, so that's fine. So yeah, now it's just waiting to see if it'll survive a rainstorm. I'm very happy with it. This hatch itself comes with 3 handles to lock it. That doesn't really work in this scenario since the frame is bent, so it won't really latch onto anything, unfortunately. So I'm only really using the one main handle in the center to lock it and unlock it. That does the job enough. If that comes loose, I can probably tighten it a bit, but for what I need, that works wonders. The side handles are just kind of there, maybe to help open and close it. Other than that, they won't be used. But when you open it, this hatch is very nice because you can adjust the hinges as much as you want, and then you can leave it at that angle. So originally my plan was to actually have the hatch open towards the front of the bus. Right now you're facing the front of the bus and you can tell, you might be able to tell, but it doesn't do that. The hatch opens towards the back. Now this was for 3 reasons. One, if I wanted to have some airflow coming in while driving, I was concerned that if I tried to lock the hatch in place, some strong wind gust or something would blow it open and it'd get ripped off a bridge or something. The second reason was because I was worried about passive airflow. I didn't want it to be too aggressive wind coming in while I'm driving, and I figured once I actually convert this thing, that wouldn't be very comfortable. And the third reason was because of how I screwed the frame on, and I didn't even realize it once I started drilling the holes. So the thing is, the side where the hinges are for the hatch, there's 4 screw holes that screw into the frame. On the side where the latch is, and there are no hinges, that's where it opens, there's only 3 holes. And I didn't realize this until I had already pre-drilled the holes and everything. So by the time I put it in, it was too late. And you can't flip the frame however you want. There's only one side for the screws for the hinge. So I figured I'd leave it that way. I kind of unconsciously made that decision. I'm pretty happy with it. I think this is ultimately the better decision. Passive airflow is fine. If I'm driving, it can probably bring some in anyway. And if I'm just parked and I'm living in it at some point, it'll bring in enough air. I'm not really concerned. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how it turned out. The sides of it not sitting properly aren't really a big concern right now. If it becomes a problem, I'll have to work around that. Maybe put on a better seal or something on the sides of the window. But right now, I don't think that's necessary. I think it'll do its job well. But that's about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little update video, and I will catch you on my next project, whenever that is. See ya.